For my revision process, I first went into Canvas and downloaded the public speaking analysis paper that contained all the suggestions and comments made by my CIS teacher. After I downloaded the PDF, I first went through and read through all of her comments and suggestions one time through, and then I went back to my paper and read the entire thing and highlighted mistakes that I didn't catch the first time and then compared them to what she found. Once I identified all these mistakes, I myself, then on my own original Word document, went through and highlighted the mistakes. That way I didn't have to keep going back and forth from PDF to the Word document where I was editing. It was just easier. After that, I then started editing and I turned on track changes. One of the mistakes I found in my paper were that my sentences were really long and lengthy. Therefore, in the editing process, I cut them down or I just separated them into two different sentences. Another mistake I found was that I lacked some information in some parts. So therefore I went back to my speech online and watched it a couple times more and then went into my paper and added in all the crucial information that I left out originally. At the end of my paper, of editing my paper, I reviewed over all my grammar and language use to make sure I didn't have any grammatical errors or I didn't add any in through the editing process. Some of my areas of improvement would probably include wordy sentences, a lack of information. I just didn't have enough detail in some areas and I didn't get my point across. And also proper language use. Sometimes I would use big words when I didn't necessarily need that. For the future, for example, in my informative essay, my goal is to create a well put together essay that contains no grammatical errors, good language use, and a sentence structure that isn't too choppy or too wordy. And to help myself improve and reach these goals, I will thoroughly look over my paper during the editing process, and during the making of my paper, I will take my time in the process and not just rush to finish it. And instead, in doing so, I'll put together well thought out, easy to understand sentences that go along with my paper. Also, I will make sure my sentences have a purpose to the paper and that all of them lead back and make sense to the topic. Thank you.